The finals just got a brand new Steam update with a ton of strange database changes. We also have to go over some of the potential release servers. We also have some very informative infographics to go over, as well as some potential Easter eggs, and some new speculations around the actual release date. We got a ton to talk about. What's up, world? It's Chubby back in the river, touching on all things the finals. Okay, so let's just jump into things here. We'll get over some of the speculation stuff, as well as some of the rumors around everything, and also around some of these weird database changes that have been happening frequently, nearly every single day. So we'll jump into here with the actual Steam database updates, as these are pretty frequent and have a ton of stuff here to go over. So ever since the beta has ended, we've had nearly a daily update, as well as multiple updates on some of these days. Now, some of the big notable recent changes is we had a title change. So they've now made it all capitalized instead of just the finals with a lowercase. They've actually capitalized the whole title. And today we actually did have a bunch of other changes as well, with some screenshots being removed entirely and replaced. So most of these screenshots are actually almost identical to one another. The only actual change to these screenshots was branding removed from the bottom and some of the watermarks at the bottom. So there was some Embark, Nexon, and the finals branding on the bottom here of the actual image. However, now with these new images, they've seemingly removed that entire bottom portion and are just leaving the actual image itself up. They've added a few other notable things like cross-platform multiplayer. As we do know, this last beta was actually cross-platform, and I do appreciate all of you commenting on my last video about the cross-platform stuff. I will more than likely do a poll for that to kind of follow up on some of the stuff there, so look out for that as well. But I am hoping that cross-platform is enabled by default, and then those that don't want to play can go ahead and disable it. I think that'll give a little bit more variety to the matches overall, as I only saw Steam players, and yeah, I saw a lot of you say the exact same thing as well. Now, most of the other changes were very minor, except the EULA change. Now, from my digging up, there was actually a comment on Discord fairly recently about this, because the EULA change was actually fairly recently as well. Now again, you have to remember this is all speculation and kind of wild tinfoil hat stuff. However, overall this is quite interesting to read up. So essentially this commenter goes over that the closed alpha started on 9/29/2022 and the EULA was updated on the 21st. That gave an 8-day interval in between those. And again with the closed beta, the EULA was updated right before release of the closed beta, which happened 3 days after. They also go on to here to mention about the actual Steam changes with the images that we just talked about, and combining that as well as the industry standard of releasing on like a Wednesday, Tuesday, or Thursday typically. That would leave us with an 8-day interval and then coincide with a November 22nd release. However, I still believe that this is not going to have a November release and we're going to see something in the TGA. Or that's my hope, at least, that they show off the game and release it with the Game Awards. I do feel like that's a better approach than releasing it beforehand and then just kind of showcasing it again at TGA. I feel like there's been multiple games that have tried that, where they've released the game a couple days before award ceremonies and then they show off the game and people are kind of just like, wasn't this out a few days ago? Yeah, I don't think it resonates well, so I'm just hoping that they release it either after the Game Awards or during it. However, this still does give us something of significance, showing that the EULA was updated right before these releases for the closed beta as well as the closed alpha. And so to me, if anything, this probably doesn't give us an actual locale on when the release date is, but it does showcase that things are going as planned and they're on track, which I think is massively huge, as I think the only way that this thing gets changed in its release date or kind of where it's going to come out is if there's like any certification failures or any issues in development. However, with the EULA updating and some of the stuff getting pushed with the actual Steam page as well as the imagery changes, I think that does showcase and tell us that there is some development updates and this is definitely on track to release this year. Which, if you're like me right now and you're trying to fill the void with an actual decent game, then you should definitely check out today's video sponsor. Persona 5 Tactica is the biggest new entry in the role-playing action-adventure turn-based strategy. And this brand new entry into the Persona universe offers dynamic combat with powerful personas and a ton of new weapons. But that doesn't stop short with an exhilarating and brand new storyline that takes place in Persona's iconic universe. And as you progress through the storyline, you'll be able to build your own unique squad, which you can then assemble to take on oppressive armies in this thrilling turn-based combat. And while this might seem somewhat similar to other Persona entries, there are many new mechanics as well as brand new stories to experience. So whether it's deep diving into those new stories, or battling it out with the exhilarating dynamic turn-based combat, or even just wanting to return to the Persona universe, Persona 5 Tactica has got it covered for you. If you want to jump into this brand new entry, it does release on November 17th for most platforms. That includes Xbox Series X and S, as well as Xbox One, Windows PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. Also, be sure to check out the Digital Deluxe Edition, which comes with some additional goodies like the Repaint Your Heart Challenge Pack, as well as the Bikaro Summoning Pack. Again, thank you to Atlus for sponsoring this video. Jumping back into things, let's get into some of the documents that have come out recently, as well as some of the fan releases. So we've had a few fan-made documents as far as infographics go with weapon damage, recoil pattern, as well as some statistics. We have a really cool layout here from somebody by the name of Jelly Knees. Now they've only released one infograph so far, so I hope they do release the rest of the set of the weapons, because this infograph is insanely informative and I love the way that its layout is done. So I'm going to leave a link down to this post down below, as well as to his user account, so that way if he does have any updates with any more posts on different weapons and recoil patterns, you'll be sure to see it first. Now if you're looking for like a full document that kind of showcases some of the TTK stuff with other weapons and some of the things there with that, we do have a little mini document that someone here has put together. Now this does show the TTK for light, medium, and heavy, as well as all the weapon ranges. We don't have any other stats here like recoil pattern or anything like that from the other infograph. However, this chart overall is very well put together and very minimalistic, and I do like this one as well. We do have one that's been getting posted around the Discord, however I haven't been able to find any links toward it, and the commenter has kind of just said that this is his document. I haven't been able to pinpoint the exact source of this information, however there's a commenter here replying to someone saying that I made it. Again, not sure if it's this person who made it because it was posted by somebody else, however here is the document in its kind of picture form. Now this does have a few more statistics overall with weapon timing, as well as shots per second and damage per second. I'll leave a link to the imagery down below, and if this person does update or kind of disclose where they have this document at, then I will leave a link to the Google document down as well as soon as that's updated. Now we have one here that's a bit old, but this does pertain kind of to the release date overall. And what happened here essentially was that there was an update that got scheduled for the finals playtest. However, I do believe since this is named under a different category, at least for the actual game itself, and the actual database changes that were within the finals was only for the capitalization of the other titling, I do believe that this was overall just a mistake and probably has nothing to do with the actual release date. Now there was a good speculation by a commenter here that says that this might just be a preload, which could definitely be the case. However, 1 to 2 weeks before launch preload does seem a little long. Normally just a few days before, if at all, even like just a few hours before the release date. So this more than likely will not be the actual date for anything and probably has no significance to anything. However, it could be for a speculative date or even the preload. Some last minute mentionables include this finals Easter egg document. Now this thing is 216 pages long and it's kind of intense. In fact, I think this thing is bigger than the Diablo 4 cow level Easter egg document. Just absolutely insane what fans have been able to put together here. And they've combined multiple storylines as well as trailers and things like that. So if you want to check this out, it's kind of cool. They're kind of decoding different Easter eggs that might be potentially in different trailers. There's also been a few devs on the Discord that have pointed to this as well. So there definitely is something there with that. People are going to have to find out what it actually is. Now we've had a few questions on what servers are going to be released for the finals. There was supposed to be some testing during the beta period for Oceanic servers. Now they couldn't quite get those out in time, so they didn't actually get to test the servers. However, I do think that they will be there in time for launch. And supposedly we'll be getting SA servers as well. Hopefully we get some more information there so you guys can know kind of how bad the ping is going to be or what servers you might want to connect to. Also, if you wanted any additional information on the finals or you just wanted to go over some of the stuff from the actual game, there is a pretty cool series here called Meet the Makers from Embark Studios. And these are just like kind of podcast segments where they sit down and chat. There is a few of them, so I'll leave a link to the playlist down below. And you can kind of get a grasp for everything on what the actual game entails, like character concept art, as well as a few other things there. Overall, that's it about cover for today's video. If you like and subscribe, and until next, deuces.